Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is an early start today. I'm so grateful that we are here on this Tuesday. Which 3 weeks ago, I think it was. Was it only 3 weeks? Let's count. It's February 1st. 1, 2, 3. 3 weeks ago, we were getting ready for Election Day. And that is wild. That sounds crazy, but that's our reality. And here we are getting ourselves together. This morning, I have committee at 7 a.m. on the Election and Privileges Committee, and I'll talk a little bit about that. But it is Jackie Glass, Mama, Navy vet, certified doer, and delegate for the 89th District. It has been a very go week. And I have a lot of updates for you guys. So I just want to say good morning and thank you for joining us. And we're going to get right into it. Because like I said, at 7 o'clock, I got to be at committee. So we'll walk across as we get this done. First and foremost, thank you guys so much for hanging in there with us. We are working really hard to get our comms together so that we're able to get you newsletters and we're able to get you feedback and sort of up to date on what's actually happening here as we start seeing our bills roll through the whole process. And if you're not familiar with the process, don't worry. We are going to be doing some know-it-alls for how to understand exactly what's happening up here, what happens in this little bit of time, because this is a part-time legislator. So we're up here for 8 weeks. I'll be here until March 12th. And then we'll be back in the community trying to do the good work, or just doing the good work with you guys for the year. And then we may come back for a special session. So we don't know. Here's what's happening. Good morning, Sasha. Here's what's happening right now. So, as you guys know, that I had several bills. Our team put together 5 bills. One of them, we put together 5 bills, and 2 of them were around policing. One of them was around sex trafficking and minors. One is around housing authorities, and one is about guardianship and conservatories of incapacitated individuals. If you've been staying abreast of the news, you probably know that our one bill, which was House Bill 1281, right? House Bill 1281 was making it unlawful to use inauthentic replica documents. And so that bill has been in the news quite a bit recently because it was coming up on the table, and then the bill on Friday was laid down. So that means that the bill was killed. It's not going anywhere else. There's nothing else that's going to happen to it until we get to bring it back up next year. And so we were really hoping that bill would make it through, because we do think, and most people that we talk to think, that at some point we have to draw a line as to what is appropriate or inappropriate behavior for policing, so that we can start building the kinds of relationships that often we hear departments and communities talk about with the police. A prime example is, I think in the paper there was a story about, and if you guys remember way back when, in Windsor, Virginia, that lieutenant, I think his name was Nazario, he was pulled over in a traffic stop in his Army uniform, and it was a whole big old deal, right? And so at the time, our Attorney General was Mark Herring, and he filed a suit against them and said they had a pattern, found that they had a pattern of discriminatory and unlawful policing practices, right, with the way they pulled folks over, and that they violated the Virginia Human Rights Act. So when we find that there are systematic civil rights violations, it's important that, one, we have the laws on the books, right, to sort of counter that, which is like the Virginia Human Rights Act, and that we have the people in the positions of power to not only call it out, but to provide corrective action. So that's what we had with Mark Herring. So right now I'm a little nervous with Attorney General Miyares, because of some of the things we've seen coming out of the office. Are we going to see sort of a degradation or a lack of concern as it pertains to civil rights acts or civil rights violations. So that town of Windsor is now trying to get, out of that suit or have a lawsuit to not be held accountable. But that's why that bill is so important, is because when we see things like what happened in Windsor, when we see things like what happened in Virginia Beach, and shout out to the people in the community when I came home this weekend that were like, I didn't know the police could lie. Yes, they can lie. And that is part of the interrogation process. We just don't want them using fake state documents to gain these confessions where bad guys can get away and good guys get locked up. That's unacceptable. So that is not over. I'd love for you guys to continue to stay engaged on that. It's a super big piece of what we're doing. We are trying to pull people together. Every bill that we've made is about having hard conversations and about uniting folks and doing better within our communities. That's it. And that's what we're looking to do. So on yesterday, I'll be happy to report that 2 of our bills reported out of subcommittee. And as I told you guys, it's almost like a bill is going to start at the bottom of the steps. And the first step is a subcommittee. The second step is a committee. The third step is it goes on the floor to say, hey, y'all, these committees said this is good. And then it goes from the floor 3 times, and on the 3rd time it's voted and it goes over to the Senate and goes through that same process in the Senate, and then it becomes our law, right? Or we codify it. So 2 bills yesterday made it out of subcommittee. One was the bill on making sure that people, family members and loved ones of incapacitated individuals know that they have the right to be a part of the guardianship process. That was our first bill that we put in. That one made it out of committee. The committee was the Courts of Justice Committee. The second one, which I think we're really, really, really proud of, is a bill that expands what police can do with forfeited assets. So forfeited assets is like when they get drug money, when they, get tow cars, when all the things that stuff has value. And believe it or not, they do things with that money. Now they can buy bulletproof vests, they can contribute to nonprofits or there's a myriad of things. But what we were looking at is adding to that language that they can do community investment. So if that very community that they keep getting forfeited assets from, that they can have an opportunity to go back and invest into that community. That one made it out of committee. It's still got a whole life out of subcommittee. It's got a whole life to go. So fingers crossed, toes crossed, all that bill moves forward. Just clarifying that they can use this, I say drug money, but it's more than just drug money. It's all kinds of assets. They can use that money to do good in the community. So it's moving. It's taking some steps. So those 2 things are really exciting. And today I'm going to, you're about to walk out the door with me. We're going to privileges and elections. I'm on the election subcommittee where we got some crazy, I try not to relegate people's thought process to crazy. We have some very interesting or substandard sort of voting bills, right? Trying to get rid of absentee voting, removing people from absentee voting, requiring a photo ID, getting rid of drop-off locations, just things that are trying to be done to sort of lower the participation of people in the voting process. Getting rid of permanent absentees. So some of you guys who was like, I always vote absentee, I want to get rid of that, being able to purge those sorts of things. There is one bill that I think I'm interested in that I think is good about absentee voting, that witness requirement. We had a lot of issues with that during the pandemic of just not being able to have a witness. And to be quite honest, I was talking to one of my staff and they're like, hey, I'm probably going to grow up and be an old lady by myself. How am I going to get a witness? So there is one good bill from another Hampton Roads person, Delegate Bloxham, that talks about being able to put either your last 4 of your social or your birth date as a form of verifying your identity on an absentee ballot. I like that, right? Like, I think that's a good bill. But everything else, like cutting off or saying that your ballot has to be postmarked by the day before election or no same day vote. Y'all, we just got to be attentive. We just got to pay attention, keep our eyes open. Eyes open and ears peeled, because nobody's playing, and we shouldn't be either. So, with that, as we sort of trickle down, I want you guys to stay abreast of what's happening with these districts. This is going to come up fast and heavy, right? It's almost going to be like, oh wow, I didn't know what's happened. I didn't know this was happening right now, and it is. So, hey, good morning. Good morning. Yep. Yeah, I'm glad, Sasha. The asset bill is so important. We want to make sure that we can reinvest in a way that is not just taking from communities. As one Commonwealth attorney said to me on that particular bill, he said, you know what? People aren't necessarily able to help where the bad guys or choose what venue they choose to do their work in. And so they shouldn't be punished for that we should find a way to reinvest. And I agree with that. Let me give a shout out to our Commonwealth's attorney, okay, Ramin Fadahi. I'm just going to tell you, our Commonwealth attorney has been showing up to every single, virtually testifying on behalf of himself as a private citizen with his expertise, and as a progressive Commonwealth attorney. I cannot tell you guys enough. And he'll tell you that I was like, you got to show me. You got to show me that you're here to do good work, that we're here to do good work together. And he has done nothing but that. Showed up and showed out and has been a certified doer. Now, again, we've got to be, just like you, we have to continue to hold our Commonwealth's attorney accountable. You got to hold me accountable too, right? Like those, it doesn't just because we agree on most things doesn't mean you can't be checking up and saying like, yo, Jackie, what you doing? Why you doing it? Yep. You have to, right? Or else this fails, right? There's no, the heroes, you guys are the heroes, right? So I just want you to remember that, keeping our democracy safe and alive, right? Lastly, what I also think is important to know is redistricting is coming up. That's a huge piece of the pie. Some of you don't realize that you're probably going to be in different districts, right? Make sure I got my key. Y'all remember last time I got locked out? Okay, so redistricting is coming up. And redistricting is based off the census. And, I don't know if you guys know this, that there were a lot of confusion with the maps and how things were drawn out. And thank you, Billy. Thank you. How they were drawn out. And we finally came to some real sort of conclusions on what that means, what that looks like. So everyone here, all the delegates, we get 1/10 of the population, right? It's 100 of us, so each of us have 1/10 of the population in the Commonwealth. So that equals out to about 80 to 88,000 people. Now they redraw those lines based off of where people are living, because that's the right thing to do, right? Where people are living, where populations are. And I will tell you this, that in Norfolk, our city is now broken up to about four different districts. So I will no longer reside in the 89th, right? That doesn't exist down in Norfolk anymore. It'll be the 92nd, 93rd, 94th, and 95th. And what I'll do is sort of, good morning. Take care, sir. See you. Yep, see you tomorrow. 4 different districts. So in the 89th, good morning. The 89th has sort of been split up into like 2 different districts. If you live in the Ocean View, Lamberts Point, Ghent area, you are now going to be in the 92nd district. If you live in the heart of Ward 3, which is like Valentine Place, Rosemont area, you are now going to be in the 93rd district. If you're over by the base, or Ocean View, East Ocean View area, you are now going to be in the 94th. And then if you're on the eastern part of Military Highway, Lake Taylor, Glen Rock, you're going to be in the 95th with a portion of Virginia Beach. So all of this stuff has been redrawn. Now, we don't know whether those maps are going to go into act this November or next November. If it's this November, then everybody's going to have to run again, and that's just how it works. But if it's next November, then we'll go from there. That's super important, because you may think you vote in a certain place and now you're voting somewhere different, or you're voting for different people. That's just how it works. So that's the House district. I'm going to get ready to go inside. You guys see? Go inside and go to committee. I don't want to lose connectivity, but I will say there's a lot of opportunity out there. I thank you guys for joining us. The Black Chamber of Commerce has this B Force Accelerator, and I just felt it was really good to mention this. If you know any Black or Latino businesses, there's applications on blackbrand.net, and they got over $750,000 to help. This one thing that it creates gaps for small businesses, especially small minority businesses, access to capital, the money to get started. So applications are due by February 15th, and the classes will start, I think, applications are due by February 5th. February 5th, and the classes, I believe, start February 15th. If you know some small business owner, tell them get up, get out, and get some. You deserve it. These opportunities that are coming are much needed and well deserved for these communities. Stay abreast of redistricting. I'll keep you guys abreast on our policing bills, because we're trying to really do this whole thing right. We're trying to do it and do it right. I'll say good morning from the Capitol, and you guys make it a great week. Do not hesitate to reach out. My email address is Del, D-E-L, Glass, Del, D-E-L, like delegate, J Glass, at house.virginia.gov, at house.virginia.gov. And you can always reach out and call our office at 804, that's 804, 698 1089, because we're in the 89th district. 1089. So that's real cool, right? So we got work to do. I will see you guys on the flip side. You make it a great day. Don't forget, it's a choice.